Grace and peace. We're going to get this thing going in about, I don't know, it's 10 minutes to 9. Y'all know I'm a little slow, so I want to get on here ahead of time. Kerry, please tell me how I sound with this AC on. Shalom, Zion. How are you? How's everything? I see you, Evans. I'm going to wait for a couple of people to get in here, but I want to talk about some other stuff. Make sure I have all of this stuff turned down. People upset. I've been dropping some videos, and I'm getting to church for. I get all type of people. They a little bit tight. Do me a favor, if y'all haven't subscribed, because y'all in for a treat with some of the stuff we got coming up in the next couple of weeks. Let me make sure this thing is off. Black people, white people. Black and white, esoteric war. That's what we're talking about up in here tonight. Black and white, the esoteric war. One sister said, I often try to make sure I answer some things. Wait, good evening. Let me see. All right, you sound good. Thank you. One sister asked, she said, I've been listening to you for a while, and, it looks like, in your conversation, you're dealing with a lot of, black, white, issues or whatever, something to that nature, she said. And I want to explain some stuff because a lot of Christians get offended. I went around the corner. They were talking about some stuff with another lady in ministry. We used to, work for the same ministry around the corner. And I went around and I was talking to some ministers. And one of the brothers said something another pastor said. He said, man, Berean, I would have you to come to my church, man. You be talking good stuff. I would have you to come to my church. But I got some white brothers and sisters. And, you be talking some black, white stuff about them white folk. And, I understand what you're saying, but it's kind of going to offend them. So I want to kind of explain a little bit of that. I don't have a problem personally with white people, but I witness in the hood, witnessing, talking to people in the hood. A lot of people, even if you're of African descent and you live in suburbs or you live in one of those states where a lot of, brothers are marrying sister or European sisters, and it's no big thing. It's a little different from growing up in certain urban areas, in Florida, certain urban areas in New York, in North Carolina. A lot of times people kind of stick with their own, and a lot of things come up in witnessing. Especially when you're dealing with the movement that I'm involved in, a lot of things with witnessing in these days come up, and it's dealing with white people. A lot of stuff have to do with the white image of Jesus, have to do with slavery. The word slavery is in the Bible. People are reading the Bible. People are Googling contradictions in the Bible. So we can't do them like we used to. And because of that, I'm often forced to bring out certain things talking about white people. Because a lot of the conscious community, mainly who I deal with, a lot of the conscious community, they constantly talking about Europeans, W.D. Fard, Elijah Muhammad, what's the other one that's in jail, right? The Nawabians, Dr. Malachi Z. York, so many people. When we start dealing with Noble Drew Ali, Minister Farrakhan, people that are prominent, people that stand out in the African American community, they speak on racial issues, especially in light of police killings and all of this. A lot of younger people want to know, what is the Bible doing for me? So racial issues are going to come up in the witness automatically. I got white friends. I don't have a problem with that. But I do have some Christian friends that are pastors, and even talking to pastors, to certain pastors, if we cooking out, if we hanging out, we at dinner and we just talking, them pastors, boy, they got a lot to say. I got some black pastor friends that got a lot to say, but they would never dare say it. They can't say it because they have European people that support them, and they just don't feel that they would, it would just come out right, bringing out certain things. People get offended. So I feel that I have a freedom. I have a freedom that a lot of my pastor friends don't have, and they like what I'm saying. They can't even say publicly. They like, even on Facebook, they can't thumbs up or nothing because they have European followers, and I don't mind being the bad guy. But what a lot of people don't know is this stuff comes just like we've seen things in the world. We've seen things, people, I'm looking on Facebook, young lady that called the cops on her. They didn't know her. They thought she was stuck in the pool with her kids. White people calling the cops because of barbecue. The little kid was still in the water. Anything that make Europeans feel uncomfortable, they just don't like, they'll call the cops. In the church, they can't call the cops. So everybody, even black pastors, black leaders, a lot of times, they're just silent. We just don't talk about it. Let's just let it go away. And letting it go away, that's like someone getting molested. That's like a molestation case. In the African-American community, you get molested, nobody's talking about it. We're just sweeping it under the rug. We're just going to be quiet about it and hope that it goes away. And that same thing kind of spilled over into the church, even the black church. We don't want to offend nobody. God is love. God is not confrontational. So we don't want to address those things. But the younger people, there are other people that talk about it. I feel some pastors are hypocritical because on the low, they talk about it, but they just can't do it from across the pulpit. Some see, well, the pulpit is not a place for that, but they got strong opinions with reparations. They got strong opinions with a lot of these police killings. Oh, they got some strong opinions, but they just won't voice it. Even if people in the congregation feel a certain way and we feel the place may be somewhere to talk about it, other people's come up with some slick stuff saying that's a social gospel that have nothing to do with Christ. But everything in the name of not offending our European brothers and sisters, let's just keep quiet about it. Let's not talk about the whitewashing. Let's not talk about nothing. That's not, I feel something burning on the inside. Y'all just forgive me, but that's not what I feel. In the name of comfort from our European brothers and sisters, I just sweep it underneath the rug. That's a problem. That's a problem. But there's a lot of people that feel that way. And because of that, a lot of pastors, a lot of people don't even want to speak out against certain injustices. And then we have other young people, they be like, man, I don't need that book. If that book's not answering, not speaking of what I'm dealing with right now, what my people dealing with, a lot of people on that my people stuff. And we're going to get into this black, white, and this old esoteric thing. Or we're going to go a little bit deep today. Now, of course, they're going to be like, oh, we were talking to you the other day and you went out there and you flipped it. Why don't you just preach Jesus? I'm preaching Jesus, but I get some questions sometime and I want to answer some of these questions. And y'all, some of them don't like the way these answers become out for these questions. But hey, what can I say? I feel led to do it. Let's say that's how we talk up in that Pentecostal joint. I feel led to do it. And so I'm trying to get rid of all of the other stuff. You know, that's one of the questions that came in. And I want to just let people know I don't have a problem with my European brothers and sisters, but in the name of making them comfortable, I'm not gonna not discuss certain things when emails are coming in, when young folk are asking, when black pastors on the low is even talking about it. But they just don't want to offend nobody. But if you're getting supported, if you have a ministry and you're supported large by Europeans, or you do have a few Europeans that's there to help you and ride out with you, that's important, because support is important. Don't get me the line. When you have a building, you got that mortgage, y'all got a van, and the van got a church van, got a car note, y'all got light bill, cable, Wi-Fi in the church, folk ain't, y'all like air conditioning when y'all go up in the church. So I understand support is important. And you know, the other guy was like, maybe I'll get radical in a few more years, but I got to get the church off the feet. They really helped me out. We got chairs, we got everything. We got some big screens up in the front, man. I'm good right now. But don't worry, I'm listening to you, brother. I'm riding with you. Don't think I'm cool. Brothers are funny with it, you know, but I love them all. You know, I love them all, to be honest. So that's the main thing. That's the main reason they'll hear me talk about stuff. And I talk the talk that they talk on the block, that we talk on the block. These white folk, when you around, everybody can't witness in the hood. Everybody can't talk in the hood, because some of y'all want to come with that King James talk. And in the hood, in the barbershop, on the block, they don't talk King James language. I'm sorry, they ain't talking no King James language, not around in these parts here. This part of America, they ain't doing it. When they talking, and they talking about the Bible, and they're talking about white people, and they're talking about slavery, and they're talking about this and that, all of these things and miracles, and they don't, you know, they'll let certain language come out along with the Bible. They told me, yeah, I love God. I pray. Yeah, I know Jesus is real and this and that. My grandmama taught me how to pray. Boy, one time we was messed up and we prayed and a man knocked on the door and bought food. Dog on the block saying that tears came in his eyes, but he believed that was a miracle. And grandma said there's nothing, but she said she gonna trust Jesus. She started pulling out the plates, and somebody knocked on the door. He banging. He on the block doing what he do. But he said he'd never forget that. He believed deity sent that. He believed some God that his grandmama was praying to made that man bring that number man bring that food to the gate. And she was praying that she didn't know how. She said, thank you, Jesus. And she asked him if he wanted a meal, and he just gave her all the groceries. And he came in the house, and he was like, to him, that was a miracle as a child, and that stuck with him. So we got to talk about that. We got to talk about some other things. So the main thing is I don't want my European brothers and sisters to be offended, but at the same time, I got to keep it 100 with the people on the block, with the people I'm witnessing to. I love people. Everybody can come and listen. Even when it comes down to Sunday seminary, you don't have to be saved. Like I tell y'all, I got Catholic people that's with me. I got Father G. I got Sister E. I got people that's my peeps. They rocking with me. Everybody's not Pentecostal. I don't do my Pentecostal thing in there. Do I believe you need to be filled with the Ruach of God? Absolutely so. And we're going to be going over Acts. That's going to be heavy. We're going to go over Acts, and we're going to go over the New Testament, and every book we're going to break down and explain those books. But when we start dealing with the I'm going to deal with two things before that. Somebody else said, they were kind of upset that I said the Bible wasn't really a Black history book, but the Bible's redemptive history. I may not touch too much on that, but we're broken, and we're broken for a reason, and we hear certain things. The other brother, what did the other brother say? Oh, yeah, I descended from kings and queens, and I think I made a video on that, but he said, why don't you speak on that, the great royalty that we descended from? Inside my DNA is the DNA of pharaohs, and that's good, but I have Dominican friends, I got Mexican friends, I got European friends, I got friends that just came over here, born and raised in Africa, Nigerian friends. I got all type of friends, and it's so funny because only people that say that are Blacks that I meet in America. Certain Blacks that I meet in America. Why is that? Why is that? Grace and peace, Baker. Why is that? Certain Black people often would say we descended from kings and queens, but my European brothers and sisters don't have to say that. My African brothers and sisters, they don't say that. Or at least a lot of them that I know, they don't say it. Only my American-born Blacks, because of the struggle, because of slavery, because of civil rights, because of Jim Crow. I don't hear my Mexican, Dominican brothers and sisters saying all of that stuff, but I stay hearing that among my people, and we spread it around, and we say it to make ourselves feel good. Now, that's good if you want to help people to feel good. A lot of occult lore are just stories to elevate a people or to promote a doctrine. I often say that, and I want y'all to remember that. But in all actuality, you can't say every Black person here in America, like you can't say every Black in America, every American Black from the tribe of Judah, if you over here, Benjamin, and that chart, all of that stuff is nonsense. I understand why people put it out there. Not every Black person in America. You are not descendants of the pharaohs. It's not making sense. I understand it makes you feel good to say it, and our people need to be uplifted, but does the end justify the means when we start talking about lies? Oh, people ain't gonna like that. Back to the black and white thing in the Esoteric War. I want to get into the Esoteric War. We're living in a time where we see various books coming out. The Book of Jasher, the Book of Gad, the Book of Edo, the Book of the War of the Lords. These are books that the Bible speak about that's not in the Bible. These are books that the Bible speak about that's not in the Bible. Recently, more and more people have been buying translations of various books, the lost books of the Bible and the forgotten books of Eden. They found things like this, and they said that these are the ancient texts from back in the days. And people are compiling it, and people are selling it. I cannot wait to do that other video. I'm doing it on a Saturday because I promised certain people we're going to deal with the Bible and copyright. When we deal with copyright, Bible, copyright, making Bibles, you get money. Producing different versions of the Bible, that's cake forever for you and your family. So that's a whole nother thing, because we can't tell the regular spiritual people that, because they believe God is at work and God gave us NIV and God gave us King James, and to the Bible thumpers, we got to tell them we got to make it look at, they have to look at it that way. But in all actuality, printing Bibles and making up Bibles, there's money in that. We have some businessmen that met, and those businessmen met. They were downstairs in a hotel, and one or two of them didn't have their Bibles, and they said it'll be a good thing if we got together and we had Bibles in every hotel. Later on, that became known as the Gideon Publishing Company. If you go in a hotel, if you go in a hospital, if you go in a jail, and they're coded for different colors for different places, you'll see a Bible in every jail. In every hotel, you'll see a Gideon Bible. You'll never find it in the bookstore for sale, because these are businessmen that put it together and they want it out there free. Large number of people commit suicide. They go to the hotel and kill themselves, so put it in the drawer. Multiple testimonies. People went, they didn't want to kill themselves at home so their kids could find them. They went to a hotel to kill themselves, and they were just sitting there and they were just looking around. They opened up and they look on the side of the drawer. They look on the side of the bed and the Bible was there. They opened it up and they flipped into the page and they start seeing that God loved them. And they put the gun down. They said, next thing you know, they're in ministry 7 years later. Crazy stuff, multiple testimonies. So outside of those people with those free Bibles, a Bible is a business thing. But I don't want to get into that. When we deal with the conscious community, a lot of the conscious community, what people don't know, a lot of the conscious community They don't have a problem with the Bible. Come on here. They don't have a problem with the Bible, Sister Eve. They got a problem with the way we reading that Bible. That's where they got the problem with. And what do I mean? They got a problem with the way we reading the Bible. They're reading the Bible esoterically. That's how come I'm talking about this black and white thing and the esoteric war. There's an esoteric war because the large number of the world, the large population in the black community, African American community, have been listening to great people like Noble Drew Ali, Elijah Muhammad, W.D. Ford, Minister Farrakhan, the guy from the Ansar Allah community, Dr. Malachi Z. York. I speak about these people because them by themselves, they're influential in the African American community. Polite is influential, who came from Malachi Z. York people. I say he descended from him. He carried his anointing, his mantle, or however y'all understand it. And these people, young Pharaoh, these people, SETI, these people, they read the Bible allegorically. They don't have a problem with the Bible. When they're talking to us in the woke group, they come in and they telling us, yo, the Bible, none of them characters existed. It's an allegory. And they try to drag you back to Kemet because they're attempting to lock doctrine in together. We were talking about this before. They're locking doctrine in together. And a lot of young people say, well, what do you mean by that? What do you mean, Berean? It got to mean something, number 666, and the proteins in the body, and and all of this other crazy stuff, David Icke, and all these other people. A lot of people are into the allegorical thought. They constantly sending me stuff from Bill. What's the other guy named Bill online? He always talking. Me and him spoke about three years ago. He trying to tell me Krishna's story is the same story. I'm like, Bill, stop it. Have you looked up what I gave you? Bill ain't busy looking at Ben Donahue was his name. Y'all Google him. Oh, didn't know that's one of the things the pastors got problems with. Why would you tell the people the books? Why you say the names? I don't care. That's why I'm saying I don't care. If you got to go listen to Donahue and he make you backslide, go ahead and backslide. Forgive me, that's ignorant. I'm so sorry. That's happening. Let me slow down. That's not right. You shouldn't backslide. But a lot of pastors want to protect the sheep and they don't want to talk about things. But if anybody's really online and they searching, they're gonna run into Bill Donahue. They're gonna run into Jordan Maxwell, Polite. They're gonna run into that stuff and people talking allegorical thought. They're not beefing with the Bible. They're beefing with the way we read the Bible. They don't want to hear about a story. Some people argue it archaeologically. If 600,000 men that had wives and had children left with a man named Moses, we should find some type of pottery in Sinai, somewhere around there, somewhere around Sinai. We should find, and they lived in the wilderness 40 years. We should find some type of archaeological evidence. Grace and peace, Dr. Aaron. We should find something. So they're arguing that from an archaeological standpoint. Other people are saying that follow the literal method. Other people are saying, wait a minute, we don't know exactly where they dwelt. And we know most of the land haven't been excavated. Y'all go look around. What y'all look around? A little 12 to 20, 22, 1,900 square miles? And y'all say they wasn't here. That means the Bible is fake. No, that's a whole nother argument, though. That's a whole nother argument. When we start dealing with the esoteric thought and allegorical thought in the Bible and the way the conscious community reads it, it's a problem because they're so locked into allegorical thought. And allegorical thought relays a message. Remember, things do not have to be true to come down sharing a doctrine. And I often bring up the story of the building of Solomon's temple with Hiram Abiff. They'll always take you in and out of scripture. They'll give you a little bit of Solomon wanting to build a temple, and he had to go to King of Tyre, and then he got wood, and he got all of this stuff, and then they'll go back to a oral tradition that comes down from the occult. I'm going to take you all to the occult. We might get to the place. If I'm on here, I've been on here 20 minutes. If I'm on here long enough, I'm going to get to holy garments. Why do the Pope dress that way? Why do the bishops dress that way? Why have they introduced that and we are looking like the Pope right now and take y'all back to Adam and Eve and the holy garments? The holy garments came down, how Nimrod got a hold of something and people are at war with the descendants of Cush, with the Nubians, with the Hebrews, with other people because of what happened on the ark, according to allegorical thought and the esoteric tradition. We got a tradition in church. We got the Eucharist. We believe Jesus said, do this in remembrance of me. If you grew up in church, there's a communion table in there, and we get up there and we eat and drink the crackers, and that's symbolic of breaking bread. Were people having communion prior to that? Yes. Yes, so we have to understand all of these things. So going back to the allegorical thought, It's hard to witness to somebody that already have a view of the Bible. And Jacob wrestled with the man. How can you really wrestle with the angel? He was wrestling with him in his thoughts, and the place of that place where he saw, he was trying to calm his mind down, and the place was called pineal. That's the pineal gland. He was meditating. He was wrestling with thoughts about God and life and what's happening. And then his third eye was open through meditation, and they slide Hinduism in there on you. And then they say the third eye was open, and that's how we saw God, and his name was changed. That's how come a lot of people in the 5% nation, a lot of people as Israelites, a lot of people, they come into a new thing. Malcolm X, they come into a new thing. They want to take off the slave master's name. Because the changing of name means something big. We see names were changed in the Bible. They went into Babylonian captivity, and God's people got other names. And they didn't want to take on the diet, Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. So there's different things that's in there, and they're in there for a reason. But I want to go to the allegorical thought. It's real hard to witness to these people because they're already trained one way. Why? Elijah Muhammad was dealing with mysteries and Freemasonry. Noble Jew Ali was dealing with Master Fard Muhammad was dealing with it. And because they were dealing with it, we see certain things like Leonard Howell and the Rastafarians later on dealing with it. We see other people dealing with it. This is the problem. It's a war with the allegorical thought and the literal thought. I'm going to go to Greece because the other brother hit me. The brother said, Berean, the Greeks made the Bible. It came around that time of the Greeks. He's not historically following it. He's following the history of, as far as the occult. He's following occult tradition all the way down, and we're going to explain that. That's how come often I'm not mad when I hear the Hebrew brothers saying, listen, a lot of y'all got to read it in Hebrew thought. You got to get rid of that Greek mindset. Because a lot of people feel that Philo and other people came and they mixed it in Alexandria, where the schools and mysteries and everything existed. In Alexandria, there was some stuff going on, and Philo and other people that were Jews, but they were influenced by Greek thought. They took on some Plato, they took on certain things, and they started mixing the story with Genesis and Adam and Eve allegorically. I'm going somewhere right now. I'm working my way up to the garments and the holy garments and certain things that's coming down. Yes, absolutely, Baker. Because they want to bring all of the doctrines in together. They want to bring all of the things in together. So because they read it like that, I want believers to understand where it's coming from. You just can't call it the devil, the devil, the devil, the devil. Some people say, well, gee, well, how can it be, Berean? Jesus was 33 years old, and at 32, water freezes. At 32 degrees, water freezes, and 32 degrees in the Scottish Rite Freemasonry. You got to understand 33 vertebrae in your back of your pineal gland and all of this other stuff. And they're trying to understand certain things. It's not to the place that we can just tell them it's the devil and move on. Snap out of that and shake yourself. Get that. Come out of him, devil. We can't do it like that anymore. We're arguing with philosophical thought. We're arguing with allegorical thought. And then the hard thing, like I said, the hard thing is there are a lot of pastors that went and got involved into the esoteric. So now we're going to get a little bit into the esoteric. There are certain people that believe that there's holy garments, there's holy things that came down from the very, very beginning. What do I mean when I say that? If you look at the story, and I don't care who's in this room, how y'all looking at the story with Adam and Eve. If you look at the story of Adam and Eve, some people, some Christian fundamentalists such as myself, believe Adam and Eve was originally clothed in light. They were naked, but they couldn't see they were naked because they had some type of glory on them. I don't even want to use that word Shekinah because that ain't Bible. That's Kabbalah, but I'm going to show y'all where all of this stuff is coming in. And them other folk that y'all call Zionists, they wove some stuff into the seminary. I ain't gonna say into the text because I'm gonna show y'all that there's a theory why these books are popping up because the occult teachers, the Rosicrucians, whatever you want to call them, they're out there and they're bringing light. They're bringing light. They want to drop light on the people to wake the people up because they believe that they're the ones that's guiding humanity through wisdom. Giving y'all the degrees, like you grow up in, all right, the world is ready for this now. Later on, the world is ready for that. And they give you things in degrees, like you go to the first, the second, the third grade. Some of y'all get real smart, and from the third grade, from the sixth grade, you jump to the 8th grade because y'all smart. I know one girl, she was skipped 2 times. Very smart. She crazy right now, but she got a good job. But she was skipped a few times. And in life, it's the same way. in spiritual walk, it's the same way. Sometimes people can jump, but most of the time they say, we're all right, they're ready to evolve to this level, and then they'll start promoting things on TV. They'll start bringing up books or showing you this was just found, and people eating it up, and then what the great scholars say about this new book that just came out, and the word is around, and it's sprinkled down from the scholars to the regular people. But when you start dealing with Adam and Eve, something happened. Adam and Eve sinned. Now, I'm going to ask y'all in the thing, Grace and Peace, Mike Shaw. I want to ask you a question, Mike Shaw. Listen, did Adam and Eve have knowledge of Gabriel, who some people would call even Gabriel, and let's say Gabriel and Michael? Those are the only two the Bible really speak about, but you know, my Catholic people, Raphael and the rest of them. Did Adam and Eve have knowledge of the Most High God, or were they communing in the spirit world back and forth? Was it like a gate, a doorway where they can see and speak to other beings, Michael and Gabriel, and they can speak to other beings, multiple beings, until one being came and manifested himself in the form of a serpent? We're going to talk about snake skin and the occult, what snake skin mean with certain things. Whatever happened, however you read the story, Adam and Eve end up falling. This is what we call the fall. Of the all branches of the Christian church said this is the fall. They ate from some fruit, from some tree. However you look at the stories, it's allegorical. Is the tree in my mind, the 2 fears in my brain, however y'all want to deal with the story. They ate from some tree, and then they try to clothe themselves. They try to clothe themselves. In the occult tradition, they try to clothe themselves. Some people say that there was a teaching that they had. They try to cover themselves up with religion. That's the birth of religion. However you look at the story, they tried to do something to cover themselves, but God came down and God did something for them. This began the sacrificial system. God covered them with animal skin. So some animal, the Bible doesn't tell us everything, some animal had to die that they can be covered up, so they can be in right standing with God. The shedding of blood. Without the shedding of blood, there's no remission of sins. So something had to happen. So coming down from that, there are people that taught that there was, even later on, that after Adam died, however Adam was clothed, that raiment, that garment got in hands of other people, and it was later passed down to Melchizedek. The clothes of Adam and Eve was later on passed down to Noah. And because Noah had these clothes that were made of animal skin, Noah, because people's asking me, was a kangaroo was in Australia, how did a kangaroo get to the ark and all of that? We're going to talk about all of that, because if you're looking at it allegorically, you don't have a problem with it because you understand the text in another way. Oh, the world was flooded. The world fell into ignorance. Everybody lost knowledge of the Most High God, except Noah and the family. And they carried on the occult tradition, the spiritual teachings. Adam and Eve, some people argue you have to protect the teaching. The teaching was that Adam and Eve knew how to commune and move in the spirit realm. What John D., what so many mystics try to practice, calling on spirits to go into that world, opening up their third eye, was nothing for Adam and Eve. They were moving in and out of that realm with no problem. There's a lot of Christians today trying to move in and out of that realm. But the second question is, Mike Shaw, the second question is, Truth Seeker, the second question is, do we belong in that realm? Do we need to go in that realm? Should I go and relax myself and deal with some ayahuasca so I can look at the deeper things in life and make myself one with the trees and understand that the trees and the grass and everything around me, the sun and the moon and everything is alive and I'm part of the great universe? As above, so below. These are things that came out later on. So Adam and Eve and everybody later on, when it came down that in the occult tradition, that the garment of Adam and Eve, I think it's the Book of Jasher, we might talk about that. The garment of Adam and Eve came down when Noah had it. Noah didn't even have to call the animals. Noah had the ark, and the ark controlled the animals. Or not the ark, the garments control the animals. These are the garments. Some people say it's literal garments. Some people say it's a system. When we get into the philosopher's stone, some people say it's a system that leads to everlasting life. It's a system that God gave man, and he's supposed to have dominion over the animals. They can control the animals through certain things. So Noah just had to begin to call them with them garments, or through this ritual can call the animals from everywhere. All right, I got a whole, go ahead. I think, well, how old Noah was building that ark? 100 years? He was preaching for 100 years, 120 years, scripture say. So all the animals started gathering. Now, there are other people that said, listen, them garments had to do with DNA. Noah was a scientist. Church people ain't gonna like this, but don't, y'all go run telling Berean teaching. The Berean is talking. We just talking. This ain't nothing but talking here. This ain't nothing but talking. And he had that garment, and later on, that garment was one of the most powerful things on the planet, because that was the connection with the spirit world and the physical world. And it was entrusted to a holy man, Noah. Noah got up on the ark with the garment, wiles out and one of Noah's sons, wiles out and Ham, who symbolically people have told us from the gate were black, were African, were darker people. Japhite, you know the story they gave us from Sunday school. So we've been trained up with the story. Noah, some people argue Noah was a black man, but Noah was an albino. When you look at it, I believe that's Enoch. We'll get into all of that. I might have them scriptures written down. And Ham represented the black race. So Ham turned around and Ham took the garments, and Ham had the garments, and he hid the garments when they came off the ark. Noah got drunk and all of that. Nobody don't even know. They're weaving in and out of cult tradition. They go into Bible. We do know he got drunk and fell asleep and something happened in the Bible, but then they weave back out to occult lore. So when you meet Freemasons, when you meet people that's in the occult lore and they tell you stories, you're like, how can he so easily mix that story with the Bible? Where you get that from? They're used to weaving in and out. They're used to weaving in and out. It's the physical Bible, what the physical book is telling us, but then it's the oral tradition that came down from the beginning of time. We're going to deal with Jasher and where this stuff come from, because a lot of y'all running around here grabbing all these new books, talking about these new books are being revealed. Are we going into the world of the occult, and the Rosicrucians and the mystics are dropping this, doing it for a reason? Remember Elijah Muhammad, I'm telling y'all something for a reason. Elijah Muhammad, Noble Drew Ali, Class 13, they all received something. They all received an occult tradition. Even if Class 13X was over in the war, he wasn't initiated into the lodge, he received large teaching. Some people would say he was a Mason without an apron. He received large teaching, and then later on, the 5%ers going in the courtroom throwing signs, flashing Masonic signs to the judges here in New York, all in California, as the doctrine spread. So we're going on. Let me go on with the story. So now he got this knowledge, this spiritual knowledge, this spiritual garment, some magical garment. A lot of people believe the Bible has to do with spiritual powers. Jesus had magic powers. Oh, that get the Christians upset when I say that. No, I know Jesus had the power of God and he did things by the power of the Holy Spirit. I absolutely know that. I'm talking about with Blavatsky and what everybody else is teaching, that Jesus had some powers and they were considered magical powers. Moses had some powers and they were considered magical powers. He threw a serpent down, but in Egypt, they had some powers too. Moses had a real rod and it turned into a serpent. As a Pentecostal, I believe that. But the priest of Egypt, they had serpents, and like in India, they can mesmerize the serpent and put a spirit in the serpent till it's time. Because in the physical world, in the spiritual world, those physical beings or those jinns or genies, not fallen angels, but those jinns or genies, they need to come and they need to get into an amulet. They need to get into a rock, a cross, a picture of Mary, or they'll get into an animal. Remember, Jesus cast the spirits. They didn't mind going into the animals. And then they ran off and went down into the swine, and they became them river spirits or whatever. That's other stuff. I'm weaving in and out, but I'm showing y'all how it's done. Yeah, all right, so I'm going on. So they believe that rod that the Egyptians had, those were real serpents, and they were under the spell because they understood the science of both realms, in and out, yin and yang, black and white. They understood the spiritual realm, and they understood the physical realm. So when Moses did that, they were like, we ain't impressed with that blah. They threw their joints down. They're like, we can do some things. So that magical war that was taking place, they hung with Moses for a little bit, but Moses' magic, the power that Moses had, outdid the other ones. And everyone always looked at it as powers. Even later on with Paul in the Book of Acts, they said, these are come down, these are the gods. Then they turn around and they're like, what are y'all talking about? We ain't no gods. What are y'all talking about? We're doing this by the power of God. But it just so freaked the people out. They turned around and got rid of their magical books. Then Simon, who started, a lot of people believe, the Gnostic movement from the 8th chapter of Acts. Simon the sorcerer, he was bewitching the people because he had the science coming down. Now I'm gonna tell y'all something when we get to the science. I'm gonna go back a little further though. So we go in there. So Ham turned around and Ham got the skins of Adam and Eve. Ham got the skin, the clothes of Adam and Eve, and this had Adam and Eve on another level even after they fell. It was some spiritual powers. It was something to even sustain them because the world was full of spirits. Satan already deceived them. If you read the book of Adam and Eve, I'm in Jasher, but if you read the book of Adam and Eve, they fell. And even the second time, he was like, Eve, they was by the river. And Adam grabbed Eve and shook him like, what are you talking? You almost got deceived again. That's the serpent. So God gave them something to recognize these spiritual beings trying to manifest and trying to do something. God was protecting them all the way down. So from Noah, back to the story, from Noah getting off the ark, Ham turned around and snatched up the garments, and now Ham got the science. He dealing with the science, and he turned around and he handed the Kush. He handed the Kush. Kush and them's got it. And the blacks now, the black Africans are doing all the building. Now Nimrod come on the scene. They building in Sumer. They building in Babylon. They building in Egypt. They got the occult sciences dealing with the spirit, the physical, and the natural. To the Egyptians, there was no difference between the physical, the spiritual realm to the priests back then, and real physical things. We going to plant, we going to cook, we going down to the river. There's no difference between the spiritual world and the natural world. So in the spirit world, there are rivers. Like we talk about a river of life. There are rivers in the spirit realm, and in this physical realm, only thing happens when you die is you go over into another realm. And people can't see you in this realm. But Martin Luther King, they believe everybody, Mother Teresa, everybody's alive in another realm where they eat, they have fruit, they have trees, they have beings, they talk, they move around, they do everything in that realm. And it's the same thing in this realm. It's just like that's in super HD, and we just blinded to some other stuff. We around it, and we don't really understand. That's how come when you talk to people that have near-death experiences, they say, man, that world is so crazy how everything, the trees, people with lucid dreams, it's like the trees, anything I think of, it just comes to me. It's like telekinesis, everything is in that world. Automatically, the being that was traveling with me, the angel that was guiding me, I had a question and I automatically knew the answer. That's a whole nother story. So he turns around and he give it to Cush. So Cush and them and Nimrod started to build with it. Nimrod started to do wicked with it. Now, some people say it was a neutral science. It was a neutral power. We call it a cult because it's just hidden, but it was a neutral power that people had, and that neutral power, Nimrod got it. He'd be like, man, listen, I'm finna rock out with this right here. I'm finna rule these people, and I can control the animals. And then Nimrod started catching the animals. People were scared of the animals. He was protecting the people. He built walls, and it was the first walled city. Like Babylon had the hanging gardens. It was the first walled city. And Nimrod did that. But coming off the ark, the high God told him, man's down there to do what he wants. Man is free. But he told men, he said, go ahead and spread on out. After they are go ahead and spread on out and multiply, keep on doing what y'all doing down there. Nimrod wanted to gather everybody together. So then God looked down and God was upset. So we got to go down there. And we went down there. The Bible says we went down there and confused their language. And that happened in Babel, or the Tower of Babel, Babylon. You know, that's what we call Babylon. That's where we get the word Babylon and all of that stuff from Babel. God confused their language. So when their languages was confused, everybody had to go their separate ways. But there were people that Nimrod taught that already knew. They didn't have the garment, but they already knew the science of the garment, and they knew enough of the magic of the rituals of calling on the spirits to what, knowing what to do, how to go into that realm, how to call on and speak and commune with these spirits. This is a problem, because this is the occult doctrine coming all the way down. Other people said that the garment were other things. It could have been the grail, whatever it was. They believe it was an esoteric, it was a secret teaching. Or some people said that they were tablets, there were stones, Freemasonry. In Mackey's book, I got Mackey's book up there, I got a few of his books. Mackey said that there was something that was coming down, it was stones, whatever it was, the occult science was already on the ark. Now, why I say that's important for y'all to know, just why a lot of pastors are Freemasons, especially the old timers, is because they believe that power came from God. It's just a science of the spirit realm. Now, if you go out there, you got a car, your parents buy you a car, your parents give you money, you got credit cards. Next thing you know, you running around here, you going picking up girls, you going on the block, you hanging out, you all in the liquor store with the car. You can do what you want with what you got, but you can mess your life up with that car. You can go drunk driving and crash, or you can go to school, you can go on dates, you can build yourself and your career with what you got from your parents. It's whatever you do with it. If your heart has been corrupt, you still have the teachings and you do corruption with it. If your heart is good, you still have the teachings. You will only do good with those teachings and bless mankind with the teachings that came down from God. This is one reason that they say this has to do with spiritual work. This is one reason a lot of Freemasons or people that deal with the occult in the spirit realm, they say it's not good or bad. It's whatever you want to do with it. So we have people on both sides. We have Christians that believe that occult lore, that oral tradition that came down, is a good thing. They say it's not any beef, there's not anything wrong with it, and it's hidden within the text for those that want to find it. God will hide a treasure, and he loved when the kids will go find it within the secrets within his book. And this is how they shop it. Now, what do y'all think about that? We got to understand some of this stuff. Later on, other people got a hold of the teachings. The sons of Japheth got a hold of the teachings. And coming down from Sunday school, a lot of us felt that those were Europeans. Europeans got a hold of the teaching. They were like, never again. Never again with Ham and the Cushites. Never again the black folk gonna have this, because they took it and they ran amok with this. They didn't share it with the whole human family. It was supposed to be for the whole human family. And Ham and them took it and ran and gave it to Cush, and Cush ran with it and went crazy with Nimrod and them. They built pyramids and they did their thing. They cursed forever. We're gonna take it and we're gonna keep these secret teachings. These are cult teachings from them. So the Europeans took it. They were mad. We ran them up into into the mountains and all of this other stuff. We were building. We weren't thinking about them later on. They came back like, man, we finna take over everything. And they ruled and they took over. And now a lot of people feel different organizations such as the Vatican and different groups have the esoteric teachings and they're locked up. But one thing about them, when you start dealing with these people don't really, because they say it's a spiritual order and the way it is in the universe, certain things have to go out. If God wants certain things out there, for those that are seeking, they got to drop signs. They got to put things out there. That's like I'm going to deal with the occult. I can't say that people are lying. They'll put things out there for you. What do they got out there? They got movies out there for you. They're showing you strange things. I don't even want to get into the whole science of the Book of Eli. Did y'all see the book of Eli? Denzel, he got to protect the King James Bible coming down, and then with the other cat with the braille. Oh man, I said I was going to say it. I said I wasn't going to get into it. The book of Eli, look at the end. The Bible is in the middle. Quran is on one side. Torah, Tanakh is on the other side. They're showing you things. They believe the book. They may not read it the way you read it, but they believe that book. That's why I got beef with them lunatics and me talking about they read so much. And you got to understand, my third eye, boy, you don't know you falling into the hands of the mother folk telling you put the book down. Only a few of them saying that. The other ones are just arguing the book is allegorical and it's a high science in the book. But they not saying put it down, but these other fools saying put the book down. How you going to put the book down when the rulers of the earth dealing with the book? This is a problem. All right, I'm getting to get out of here, but this is the problem. I want to make sure I explain certain things to y'all. I had 2-3 questions I said I was going to answer for some other people that came down. But these are things that we got to look at. What are we gonna do with this stuff? This is some heavy teaching that come down. Other people say, well, this is just nothing but the devil. Berean and just don't talk about it. No, I want believers to know. There's a lot of people that's out there in the conscious community, and one of the reasons that I do this is because those people, there are a lot of people. I really believe that book. I really believe that book. But that book says when the Spirit was poured out, and the Bible says that this is to you and to your children and to many that are far off, even to as many as the Lord our God shall call. There's a lot of people in the conscious community got praying grandmamas, praying mamas. A lot of brothers just went up north and ran into Gerald Massey. They went and did some Fed time and ran into some old Cyrus talk, and they didn't understand the depths of it, and they just came back and they just flipped their mind, and they talk about the Bible's no good, but they got praying grandmamas in them. They got to come into the righteous way. There's a righteous way, but the teachings are so deep. So much stuff is going on. Malachi Z. York done flooded these streets. I'm talking about the hood. I don't know where y'all at. Jordan Maxwell done flooded these streets. David Icke done flooded these streets, these YouTube streets and these physical streets. Elijah Muhammad, W.D. Father, 5% Nation, they done flooded these streets through the rap music, the occult doctrine, and came back down, done flooded these streets. Erykah Badu and all of them, Nas and all of, they done flooded these streets. KRS-One, they done flooded these streets with this stuff. Now look what we up against. Now we lost in the source. Why would they think it's the Greeks? Why would they think this? Now, one of the reasons that the brothers are confused about the Greeks is because, like I said, Philo started mixing Mosaic thought with the philosophies of Greek, with Greek thought. He was up there in Alexandria, all the intellectuals come together. They mix their thoughts up. He don't want to make it sound stupid. So he mixed up a little bit of the Noah, of the story of the Pentateuch with allegorical things, just doing like a lot of the Greeks were doing. But the reason a lot of brothers are confused when we start going into scholarship and still dealing with history and different letters and stuff and how the Septuagint first came about, they think just because Greek was the lingua franca that Greeks invented the book. Excuse me, and that's where the problem comes in. Now, a lot of them say, one brother said he hit me, and I've heard this multiple times. Why do you think the stories are the same? You got stories about gods coming down, and that's part of the corruption when we start dealing with Genesis 6. And it's interesting that most seminaries don't teach that. What's the influence in the seminaries? Who's controlling these pastors and teaching these pastors this stuff? And who have these pastors scared to speak about one thing, but they love preaching something else? Why every church is preaching something? Why don't I never hear no pastor preaching out of the book of Revelation? There's certain things that you just don't see, and they're just not popular. All of this stuff is designed for a reason. Now, Part of the problem is most scholars, when you deal with scholars right now, and I'm going to leave with this, those books and those allegorical thoughts and certain things that come down, I told y'all the Book of Enoch got it shine like never before. It's getting it shine right now. But when you start dealing with the Sefer, and there's different books that talking about the Book of Gad, Book of Jubilee, Book of Enoch, and everything else is in there, most scholars do not agree that that Book of Jasher that we're reading today is the real Book of Jasher. They believe this stuff came around in the 17th century, that these were Jewish mystics. Some people say they were Kabbalah. Some other people say they were deists. Some people say they were Rosicrucians. But they had to come and bring down the story, and they put a twist in the story. They said they wanted it written down besides the oral tradition, because so many people were being killed. What's his name? The Modi and them. Other cats getting killed on Friday the 13th, the Knights Templar. They said the oral tradition was dying out. We got to put some things in the book. So years later, after the crusade and all of that stuff, and they started dealing with the occult doctrine and started doing their banking and started spreading this mess in Europe. And then the Moors later on, they turned around, they said this thing we have to put this down, and everything time something comes down in writing, they attempt to connect it back. So I'll write something and I'll say this is Enoch. I'll write something. I can write right now the great book of Melchizedek. I ain't gonna put Berean on it. I'm already talking to got people, man, I'm thinking right there with what you just said. I can just put the great book of Melchizedek and I can dirty it up. That's why we got papyrologists looking at the paper, looking at the ink, looking at the style of the writing, how old is it? And I can go to Egypt and throw it in the sand, leave. Hopefully somebody crazy find it, or I'll go let some little peasant go find it. He'll go find it and take it back. Next thing you know, scholars are looking at it. It's bootleg. Berean wrote it, but I don't put Melchizedek name on it. Boy, I got some occult doctrine for y'all behind, and y'all gonna read that. And then people start reading it. This is the ancient writings. And then we can start promoting it and pushing it out there like it's the real thing. And this is the problem. Most scholars out there don't believe that what's being read on the internet, what people are buying, Israelites eating it up. A lot of people eating it up. These other books. This apocryphal work. The apocryphal work, pseudepigraphal work is one thing, but certain books specifically they believe that they have evidence. There was a man that did 3.5 years in jail for writing that Book of Jasher. They believe it's fake, it's bootleg. But he was a deist, a Rosicrucian, he was a mystic or something, and he tried to steal the authority from God and put it in man. He tried to put that occult lore, that occult tradition in the book. This is the problem, but people are just getting the book and pastors don't know. So pastors are just saying, we dealing with the 66, leave that alone. Leave that alone. Yes, who is that? The truth seeker, the hidden agendas. We have people as agents of disinformation, but they want people to be initiated into the occult. Any and everything to do to initiate you into the occult. But Berean, the pastor, said such and such. When we started looking at certain numbers in the Bible, Billinger got that book. Orthodoxy, we don't ride with it, but Billinger got that book, Numbers in Scripture. The number 7, the number 144, the number 40. Could it be a hidden message inside of the Bible? What did this mean in the Hebrew language? These different letters in the Hebrew, do they correspond to every alphabet correspond with a letter? Is there a secret message coming down? And more people are answering that. More and more people are answering that, and it's looking like a serious problem. And there's more and more there's a lot of pastors that's lost in the sauce. Be like, man, there's so much information out there. It's like the church is being overwhelmed with stuff. The few pastors are Freemasons. Them fools is initiated into not saying nothing. R.I.P. my man Lamont Austin. Over there, I'm down here in Brooklyn. We are here, the Claremont Lodge in Brooklyn. I'm saying names so y'all can know. Lamont Austin, he's a past master. He was a worshipful master down there. He died. He lived on Gates Avenue. He used to live on 590 Gates Avenue. Lamont, we call him my man Rod. He was heavy into the lodge. I'm giving him books, and I'm building with him. I'm showing him stuff. It's flipping his wig. I'm showing him stuff. I'm like, boy, I'm not playing no games. Let me show you some of this stuff. But then I noticed Ross started, let me look at that other book. And I'm showing him books. And I come there. And other dudes will be at this crib. Be like, yeah, that's my man. We grew up together. You know my government and everything. We grew up together. And he talking. And he hears some of them dudes. And then you know what they made him the worshipful master. These is large dudes. I know this Rod don't want to give me back my books. He trying to act like, yo, you ain't supposed to really be having this stuff and better that. I'm like, oh man, don't make me. This is my man. Me and her sister. Shout out to Combs. Combs was in third grade together. And I noticed, I'm like, yo, let me go up to this lodge. Now, I'm not going to his house. Let me go up to this lodge where this dude is at. And I get in there, the dude let me in. And he just figured the way I'm moving and I'm talking that I'm down with the lodge. I'm amazed with him. Come on in, Brian. Come on in. The meeting was over. They were just in there chatting. So we started talking. They said, yeah, he in the bathroom. So then the dude asked me where I'm hailing from and all that. He want to know what lodge I'm from. I'm like, no, I ain't down with the lodge. It's my man right here. We go over there. Oh, they was tight because I was already in there. I'm already in there. We talk about, you got to get them books up. He's tight, but they're realizing that there were certain things. Y'all are the only ones that scared, trying to hide certain stuff. Ain't nobody sworn in nothing. I'm going to speak on this thing, and I'm going to share with the people. Some people say you'll just mess their spirituality up. You'll mess their minds up because people just don't need this. They don't need to hear this. You could say what you want. Elijah Muhammad heard a lot of this stuff. So that dude did 3.5 years for that Book of Jasher. A lot of people knew back in the day. What was it, 1600? I can't remember. I'm going to post a link. There's a lot of people that talk about it. Who's online talking about Ken Johnson? Ken Johnson. He talk about a lot of those books. Mike Heiser, definitely. Y'all Google Mike Heiser. I think he got his French pop. He got a few things, and he's interviewed all online. But he'll discuss some of these things, and you'll hear it. Author something. Author. What's the guy that wrote the history of the Book of Jasher? Author Keel. Author something. I'll put it down in the comments. But it's people, and they were almost positive that the book was fraudulent. But people are rocking out with the book right now. So then we have to go back to people. I can't say Jerome was a racist. Who was racist in 400? When he translated the Vulgate, the Latin Vulgate, when he translated that back in the days, he said, man, we'll read them other books talking about First and Second Maccabees, but that's not on the level of the book. We're not rocking that as doctrine. People are just finding these other books and rocking them as doctrine, even though they contradict an orthodoxy. They contradicting the book. They contradicting the books that Jesus quoted from, and people just eating it up. They're eating it up. They don't know why they're eating it. The oral tradition, conscious community is steeped in the occult doctrine. What are we going to do with that? I think that's a fair question for the church. We're like, oh no, you talking about that? We got to build on that. Like the pastor said, man, we got to talk on the side, brother. We got to talk on the side. See, you talking about the black and white stuff that you bringing this in. You're making it hard for yourself. You can't, really build a platform for yourself. You got to remember you're branding yourself, Berean. You got to channel your branding yourself. You got to be careful how you move, and all of the pulpits can open up for you, brother. And I'm like, brother, you got me confused, boy. I ain't thinking about pulpits open up. Can I use some money? Yeah, I can use some money. People always can use some money. But I'm not looking to do how y'all doing. I know how the game go. I know how you got to move around. We might talk about grandstanding with them preachers, because somebody sent me something with another brother, another pastor, and how these pastors move. I might get on that. But this is some serious stuff. But there's a cult tradition, with this occult lore. What is that garment from Adam and Eve, and where that whole story come from? We're getting a lot of this stuff from Jasher, from the lost books of the Bible and the forgotten books of Eden. Later on in Europe, later on in Spain, Seville, and there was a lot of people, some were Jews, some weren't. So all of them were mystics in some way, and they wanted to fill in the gaps. Where was Jesus in his missing years? Those gospels, those books wasn't around in the beginning. They wanted to fill in some time, so they started telling different stories. They were just stories, but inside the stories, they meant to relay a message in there. And then what are people doing with the message? The uninitiated, the people that's out in the street, how are they reading and understanding these stories? That's how come y'all have heard me say in other videos, when you're dealing with Malachi York and all of them books, he was coming out with all of that crazy stuff. What he was, what Albert Pike was to Scottish Rite Freemasonry and those higher degrees, Malachi York could have been a Prince Hall. He stayed coming out with some stuff mixed up with that other lore and that occult tradition and mixing everything up with the aliens and all of that other stuff coming from those books, coming from various doctrines and weaving them together. I can weave the same doctrine together and say, listen, the Greys and the Anunnaki is beefing. Y'all don't know this book came down as a deep truth I got from the Greys and the Anunnaki. And y'all go running, hitting my man and MD talking about the Greys and the Anunnaki came from God. Don't twist up what I'm saying. I'm just giving y'all what it is. This is what it is. It's a lot. It's a lot. I can't lie. Let me try to read some of these. Let me try to read some of these comments. Let me see. Y'all know my thing is Berean teach. Berean teach. The Decalogue stones. Yes. A lot of people feel, who's that? Smith, grace and peace, Smith. A lot of people feel that besides the stones, even with Moses, some people said there were two tablets. That's why we got the two pillars in front of the Masonic Lodge. It's symbolic of the two theories of the brain, the two stone tablets that came down with some teachings, because man knew before the flood with Noah, man had to write down the esoteric teachings, and they knew that they can make it. They didn't know that God was going to destroy the world through fire or through a flood. That goes against orthodoxy right there. He told Noah 120 years earlier to build an ark. Ark can't sustain, but ark could be damaged by fire. But later on, occult tradition said that mankind broke down the occult tradition because they didn't know how God was going to destroy the world. But God was upset with the world because beings came down, like the brother said in Greek thought. In Greek thought, we have stories about the gods coming down, sleeping with women. That's the Genesis 6 thing, but there's some DNA thing type of thing, where these angels, because they wanted to taint the bloodline, because they knew from Genesis 3:15 that the gospel was coming down, that a child was going to be born that was going to bruise the head of the serpent, or some stuff like that. And the serpent was going to bruise his heel. How did they know it? And these beings said, listen, we got to go to work. He getting ready to do something. The great spirit is going to, they're all calling him, they know who he is. They all come from him, but there's some of them that was doing their own thing. So it was like, man, we got to do something. He's going to do it through them humans. We don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to make sure we damage their DNA. And then they went down there and they started messing with the DNA. Some people said it was physical sex. Some people said that they came down and they were trying to do something, some type of artificial insemination. When they say the gods came down and got women pregnant and did some things. And then later on, they started eating animals and they were cross-breeding animals and all type of crazy stuff. And God was like, I got to destroy it all. The stories are strange. I'm gonna get into some of that. I'm gonna get into some of the rest of it later on. It's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff. And like I said, certain stuff I wanted to teach and just keep it private and talk to some people. But it's some heavy stuff out there. But are we gonna how are we gonna handle this conscious community thing now? With all of these allegorical teachings that's out there. Like I said, the majority of them, they don't have a problem with the Bible, but they're arguing with us that it's allegorical. Every single thing in the Bible is not true, but you got to take those allegorical stories. But now when we find out certain things about Pilate, certain things about Hezekiah, certain things about David, certain things about the kings around the time of Abraham that fit the story, how in the world you can tell us it's all allegorical? Paul is not an allegory. You'll see, too many people tell us, Paul, nobody is disputing that the Apostle Paul ever lived. Nobody outside of these few fools on the internet, nobody is disputing the Chariot S and all them other folk who mixed in, some white folk and black folk, mixing that stuff up with Chariot S and a lot of them people. Nobody's arguing that Jesus ever lived. Walking on water, virgin birth, that's another story. But historicity, when we deal with the historical method, people not really arguing that out here. So how do we do with that? So now people are really feel, man, this thing is so crazy. What do the numbers mean in the Bible? Why do 40 days and 40 nights? Why he picked 12 apostles, most likely from the 12 tribes of Israel? Why he picked the 12 tribes of Israel? Other people are trying to, what's that guy, Greenberg University of North Carolina? Why he trying to connect that to the 12? And a lot of people, Bill Donahue and all of them, they trying to connect the 12 tribes of Israel to the 12 zodiac. They're trying to go back to Babylon. Where does zodiac come from? Why this number 12? They're trying to deal with certain things. When you're dealing with the openings of the body and different parts and different gifts and different manifestations, how many gifts of the spirit there are, they're trying to do something. And it's confusing a lot of people. And a lot of pastors are not steep enough into it to be like, man, just stay away from it. So what can you do right now? Can you trust the pastor and just stay away from it? Are you going to go into the rabbit hole? You can say what you want. There's agents of misinformation out here. There are occultists. There are heavy people out here, and their job is to initiate you and bring you higher. They want to take you. They want to take you into the spirit realm. No, a whole bunch of these occult teachers out here, they ain't denying no spirit realm. John D. and Edward Kelly got scared. John D. said he was going to spend his life talking to these beings because these beings got too much knowledge. And then there was the guy named, not Swedenborg, the other guy, he came around, he said, no, he said, you got to be careful when you're communing with the beings. He said, you don't need a Ouija board to commune with the beings, but there's so many different ways to commune with because they want to talk. These beings, whoever they are, aliens, grays, demons, fallen ones, principalities, whoever you think they are, the Bible's exposing who they are. They shapeshift, they ill, they demons, but they coming like grandma. They coming like fairies, jinns, whatever you want to call them, genies. They coming like a cloud of smoke. They shape-shifting for real, and they want to commune. So it's dangerous because John D. and them and Kelly and all of them. Kelly got scared. Kelly walked away from John D. He was like, oh no, because he didn't like why. Because Kelly said he was a Christian. He said he was a believer. But John D. kept looking into the crystal ball. He kept dealing with the magical occult things, and he wanted to get more and more information from these beings. So later on, the people hit y'all with that heavy and Enochian magic, and you got to understand sacred geometry, and it's a deep mathematical science, and this and that, and the compass and the square, and you got to know Euclid and the different properties, and that's a whole nother story. When we deal with the occult, we deal with Abraham and Euclid and that whole thing, Eureka. That's a whole nother mystical, that's a whole nother road that folk don't want to go down. But I'm going to ask y'all right now, what's your bishop name with the Masonic thing? He's from the Eureka Lodge, number 51, Ohio. Bishop Ellis. Why Bishop Ellis down with Eureka Lodge? It's heavy science up in the lodge. It's heavy science, but that's Bishop Ellis. Why he the College of African American Bishops. He's a boss in the church. Why bosses in the church moving with heavy degrees in the lodge? They know some stuff. What are they doing? How do we deal with them? Grandmama and them don't want to hear that. We can't even bring that up to them. We can't bring it up to half of the people, because most people, they want to go to everybody listen to me. If y'all go to church, y'all associated with some pastor, some bishop that goes to the college of the bishops. That's down with them. R.I.P. Shout out to them. Archbishop Roy Brown. I learned so much from them. McKinley and them. I learned some my Archbishop, excuse me, you got to call them by their title. Archbishop McKinley. I learned so much from them. Matter of fact, when I start talking about them, I think it was from McKinley that I remember hearing that if you're going and you're a pastor and you're going out to speak, you don't come in there grandstanding. Like we're going to talk about that other pastor. He came in there, he got bodyguards around him. He grandstanding. You don't come grandstanding when you speaking out there. I'm shifting the whole conversation now. A lot of preachers grandstanding, talking about that other sister and money and the hotel room, and they got to get suites and you got to pick them up in a limousine. This is all that other stuff. This is all that other stuff. But I remember he mentioned it to the ministers, when y'all going out, y'all going to speak, you got to be of a humble spirit. You got to, come in there humbly. Don't bust all in the room with bodyguards like, I'm the man bringing the word of God. You'll see me, if possible, go through the back door. You ain't got to be seen by everybody all up in the front. There's a certain way to move when you're approaching the pulpit, when you're doing certain things. These younger pastors, they ain't thinking about that. They want to grandstand. They want you to see what they pulling up in. The other pastor, they hollering out what room they in, because they know them girls will go to the hotel and call from the lobby. Come and pray for me. They ain't praying. Oh, that's another thing. Berean always do that. They said, Berean, you be talking one thing, then you start banging on the church. I like you, but you can't give them information against us. So I'm going to leave that alone. But I remember one time back in the day, about 20 years ago, when I first came home, I came in the back of Elam. I seen Jackie McCullough back there. Excuse me, Bishop. She's Bishop now. I seen Jackie McCullough, but she was tearing it up. And I remember being up north, listening to her and stuff like that. She was such an inspiration. I said, I love you. I walked in the back of the church. She was in the back of Elam. I said, I love you. She said, boy, go up to the front of that church and pray. She was just back there like a regular person. It wasn't grandstanding or nothing. A lot of people, they're real good, but we got a different spirit of grandstanders. I'm gonna tell y'all what, back in the days, my sisters and I told y'all conference was chicken. Conference is money. My sisters and them used to have conferences for the bishop. I'm going one day, they rent a big church van. Brand new church van, they rented from the airport. They said, we got some speakers coming in, and Iona Lark and Cheryl Brady and all that. I'm saying names. I'm ignorant with it. Go tell them I said that. So they said, all right, you go pick up Cheryl Brady? I don't know, problem. I got the truck. I'm dipping around there. So let me go to the airport. I go to JFK, pick her up. Got out there, look, I got the sign and this and that. And so she saw me, you know what I'm saying? I seen her and her husband. I seen her and the big guy. And I was like, come on, this and that. And better that, boy, you should have seen her face. She seen I come and picked her on a big passenger airport bus. It didn't have the church name on it. It was a rental from the airport. But she was like, and where was Miss? She started saying my sister's name. I said, oh, they'll be there. They're at the church. They're at the church waiting for you. And better that they had a separate room for her with fruits and flowers and all of that. You don't got to do it up for these folk. Oh, you heavy, you got to do it up big for her. Boy, she was tight in that car. She was whispering her husband. She thought some other car was coming to get her. Brand new car, air conditioned, jumping. She just didn't like the way she was picked up. She had an attitude coming in there. She tore it down, though. She got her break. She tore it down, but I'll never forget that was the attitude that she had. Later on, I think it was the next day, Iona Lark. She a bishop, Iona Lark. She a bishop right now. She came in the next day, whole different attitude. Unbelievable. Hi to the kids. Hi, how are you? Whispering, not talking loud. She came up there. You wouldn't even know that's the speaker. You wouldn't even know that was her coming in the building. She got up there and tore the floor down. These folk are gifted, did what they did, anointed, definitely God's people. But some people just funny with it, the way they moving and the way they coming in and all of that stuff. She came in there nice and quiet and humble, and you could tell she was trained up under certain people. You don't come in there grandstanding. You ain't coming in the pulpit grandstanding with jewelry, tight skirts, tight dresses, preaching tight pants, all of this stuff. There's a certain way you come in the pulpit. There's a certain way you come around God's people, especially if you're the one delivering the word. I always got to throw something like that in. One last thing before I go, somebody asked me about shopping churches. There's no bad churches. I just had some bad church. I had some good church experiences too, but some bad ones. So I have a certain view of the church, but there are a lot of good churches out there. You have to shop churches. You can shop a church. You don't have to just go there because you black people, y'all too much into tradition, a lot of you people. Y'all want to go there because your grandmother went there, your grandfather gave the land that they built that church on, and you still going there. You don't even like it. You don't like it. You got your kids going there and your grandma. You didn't like it when your grandma and them had you going there. You go shop a church, go around and find a good church. Find a good church. There's a lot of young people out here. Got some good churches. They got some young brothers out here, church mixed congregations out here, and they doing churches in hard places. They doing church plants. A lot of brothers, shout out to them. They doing church plants, and they really trying to get it in. They're really trying to do community work, and they're really trying to show people that the church is relevant. But y'all got to be careful when y'all dealing with that occult doctrine, because it's out there. Mad people. I don't know. A lot of scholars y'all have talked to, plenty of people don't believe that Book of Jasher is right and exact. A lot of those books are right and exact, but you got to understand that these people are out here shopping in doctrine, and there's a lot of these people that's reading these books. And when I see them, to be honest, people get mad at me. I'm in the woke group. I'm one of the moderators. I'm standing, and y'all can say what y'all want. I got my jacket. I'm pulling my jacket. I'm stay straight blocking people. I go to their page. When I see them and they start having them, oh, this guy look like you're in the Moore Science Temple. I'm looking on their page. I'm like, oh, they're gonna go in there. They're getting ready to go in there and flip these Christians in their head. They're gonna hit them in their head. These people are not, because I know automatically, like I tell by even their names. What the this guy, he one of them L, one of them Bays. I know what he doing. I know where he coming from. He coming from a place that's gonna be a little rougher than Christians. And then the Christians be like, if you talk about it, it's the devil. If you don't talk about it, they're confused. I gotta talk about it. I can't say God's called me to this is a different type of ministry. I guess I can say I ain't a minister, but it's just a different type of service that I'm giving. It's a service that I'm giving to the people. And as I'm talking about some stuff that regular church people don't want to talk about, but at the same time, I feel pressed to do it, and I know it's God. And I'm urging some of y'all to do the same thing. There's too many of us that's doing it because Jakes do it this way, that do it that way. I never seen it done in church like this before, so this can't be God. Of course it's God. He's taking you to he's giving you some new stuff. He got a new gifting in you. That other girl said, well, she liked dance. There was no praise dance. I don't know what that girl was doing, but ministry is jumping. She getting little kids, and just the amount of kids that's opening up themselves, being around her, talking her, telling her about their problems, and counseling is in there. There's a lot that we need, and I see God doing other stuff, but it's traditionally not the pulpit. Don't get strung out off that pulpit. Too many people strung out off that pulpit. I got to close. I got to get my preaching voice. You don't got to get your preaching voice. You got to read a book. You got to pray and get the Holy Ghost and then read some of these books and expound on some of this stuff in here. You worried about your preaching voice and throwing the key, and I rub my ear and rub my hair. And, different people got different signs when you want to hit the organist. And, everybody got different, because you want to be known by something. Luda, all the rappers are known by something. They're known by a little, what's your little thing, especially when you're promoting yourself. We're living in the day, a lot of preachers, a lot of stuff, they're promoting their brand. People like, Marie, you ain't promoting your brand right. You doing some stuff, and the white people got money. I'm not mad at the white people. I just bring up certain things because certain things are discussed in the neighborhood, and I feel it's more important to help the people and talk about what they talk about in these streets, what I'm witnessing, what these people are talking about. That's the only thing. And like I don't like white people. I got white friends, but a lot of them understand. They think I'm crazy, but they understand what I'm doing, and they've been there for me. Some of them, like I said, some of them not even saved, but they down. I hate them. Woo, woo, woo. This is what it is. But like, what? Man, don't worry. And I'm talking about down. They're thorough, not playing no games. Don't think some of these white folk ain't grow up in no foster home. Don't think some of these white guys ain't been up top, don't do that thing. Don't you get it twisted. Some of y'all think of somebody white, they soft. No way. I got some friends. I got some white friends, but I'm doing what I'm doing and it's a certain way. And I'm, and it kind of upsetting because I understand, to be in all honesty, I understand if you get the church too mad. I'm in the middle. I got some church friends, some church people still talk to me. A lot of pastors talk to me. I got plenty of pastors' numbers in my phone. Some of them will call me, woo, you say whatever. I'm like, all right. But outside of that, I know, when you start saying certain things that the pastors and them don't like, the first thing they do, I teach y'all, they demonize you. I don't, to be honest, because I've been in the church and so many of my friends are in the church. My other friends, I got some other friends, but them other friends ain't right and exact. They my friends, but they ain't my close friend. They need to get saved. And anything jump off, I'm gonna call them, but they need to get saved, and they need to get saved now. But outside of them, I don't know regular Christian people. I know pastors and bishops and them other dudes. And if the church, to be honest, if the church blackball me, if they demonize me, I ain't got nothing but them other dudes. But the church will blackball you. They would demonize you if you start talking certain things that they ain't not feeling. It's right and exact. Oh, 1, 2, 3. A few pastors got to say woo, 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 and then it's going to them other ones, and it's going, and this is what they do. That's what they've done to them Israelites. Demonize them, bunch them all together. Berean talking crazy. He mentioned the Book of Jasher. He got a demon in me. He got a demon in me because he already said 4 months ago that the oneness Pentecostals may go to heaven too, and they don't lose the word Trinity. And then he's dealing with them Hebrew Israelites over there. We know for sure he got a devil, and he don't want to come in church and let us cast it out. So we got to turn him over to Satan. Then they'll start getting out here and bad mouthing you. It's funny. I ain't scared of them, but I know what they'll do. I know what they'll do. It's a whole bunch of stuff. I'm gonna end with that. Listen, let me see. All right, let me see if I can go back and. There's so much stuff. I should have came on here with somebody from the team. We're gonna finish up that Sunday. We're gonna finish up on Sunday. We're going to finish up talking about the Bible survey. We're going to break down those individual books, and we're going to talk about some stuff, but at the same time, I'm going to give y'all background. Background on the books are important. And in the midst of that, I'm going to be throwing in some other stuff. The other pastor was tight. I said, no, we got to explain this thing to these people. They ain't dumb. I'm going to tell y'all right now one of the things I was telling. I be getting them preachers tight. I said, it could be. He said, that ain't in the Bible. Everything is not in the Bible, but I'm not trying to build doctrine off of it. But we were talking about covenants. There were covenants. My homegirl sister E was talking about a covenant in the other class. And you're going to hear more from her and a few people that I got. I got teachers in the group. And talking and discussing these covenants and stuff, we had to explain that God had a covenant. That's what a testament is. If your grandfather dies and he leaves you some property, y'all going to go to the lawyer and y'all going to pull out the will. It's going to say his last will and testament. That's what a New Testament, Old Testament is. There was a covenant with God and Israel, and there were different covenants. It's important to understand a covenant. A covenant is an agreement. I'm going to be your God, but you have to do A, B, C, and D. And I promise I'm going to do E, F, G, whatever. And this is how it is. But there was kind of like a covenant. There was kind of like a covenant with God. And I'm going to go more into it with God and Satan. What is this? What is he talking about? A satanic? There's a covenant with God and Satan. And a covenant is just, listen, this is what you can do as a contract. This is what you can do. I work on somebody's house. I'll be like, listen, I'm flipping that kitchen. I'm doing whatever. People always try to go outside of the contract. The lady said, oh, I know. You almost finished. You got the lights in the wall, but I noticed you didn't put those lights under the cabinet. I said, no, I told you that you can have lights in the corner cabinets with the glass and underneath the cabinets. You could have lights, but that's not in the contract. Well, that was an extra 12. You didn't want that. She didn't want that. She wanted them fancy. She didn't want all of them other cabinets, all of them other, with the curtain moving and all of that. So yeah, we can get the sensor on the curtain, or the curtain could be on the switch. Tell me now whilst the sheetrock is open so we could wire it up for that. She didn't want that. Then later on, she's going to act like she wanted it and throw it into the covenant. There was a covenant, even when we go back to the book of Job. When we look in the book of Job, Job had Satan couldn't do what he wanted to do with Job. And for the record, Job wasn't a Hebrew Israelite. God was dealing and moving with people that were not Hebrew Israelites. Noah wasn't a Hebrew Israelite. Adam and Eve weren't Israelites. I just want to put this out there. God is moving in the earth. So he, we see the story. The book of Job is, a lot of people argue, the oldest book. One of the oldest books, one of the oldest stories within the whole canon that we have. And in the book of Job, God brought it up and said, if you considered my servant Job, he told him to go, Satan, go ahead and do what you do. Where you coming from? Walking to and fro the earth. There's so much when we start dealing with spiritual warfare and contracts, Ephesians. There's a whole bunch inside that Bible that's dealing with this stuff. And when he started and he said, go ahead, you can go ahead and do whatever you want to do, but just don't take his life. So Satan can kill. What Jesus said in John 10:10, the enemy come to steal, kill, and destroy. But I come that you might have life. Do not kill him. But you can go ahead and do what you want to do. He had a contract. He let him go do certain things, but you can't go beyond this. I love that. No matter what's happening in my life, I know the everlasting is looking over me. And listen, the enemy can't do but so much. But boy, I feel like he's going to destroy me, but he can't do it. He can't do it, and I love that. So when you got to understand certain things when it comes down to that contract and spiritual warfare. I think that's what we're going to talk about next: contract and spiritual warfare. But remember, in closing, when y'all start dealing with certain things, they have the occult tradition coming down. Some people say, "Oh, that didn't make no sense. It wasn't no garment and no Bible. Where you getting it from?" Them people that know the book, they not playing with y'all. Cause that's what I said. I said, "What garment in the Bible?" Pastor started flipping that book open. He said, "What are you talking about? You better go to Kings. Go to Kings with Elijah and Elisha." My father, he saw the chariots coming down to pick him up. And when he got him, Elijah threw down the mantle. They said that was that garment. And that garment was that power. And that garment was that anointing or whatever, that magic, whatever you people want to call it. It was in that garment. Then when Elijah picked it up, he wrapped that thing up and he went and hit that water. I'm like, ooh, they got some scripture. They got some scripture. They got some scriptures. It's crazy how they do the scripture. It ain't like how they do it in Bible school, but they got another way to spread that doctrine around how they doing that scripture with the garment. They start talking about marking the garment and ripping the garment and who touched the hem of Jesus' garment. I'm like, y'all are ill with it. But it's a whole occult teaching that's out there, and it's all over the internet. And it's in the Black African American community, not just the African American community, because through the New Age, Europeans been initiated into it. Through rock music, they've been initiated into it. Through the Ouija board, they've been initiated into it. Parker Brothers, them other people that owned it, they was all getting money. They was putting these doctrines out there through scary movies. They were putting this stuff out there. Maybe later on I'll get into that Matrix, but that Book of Eli, that's a whole other thing. I might get into that. It's a doctrine that's out here. It's a teaching that's out here. And these people believe that Bible. Y'all better, my thing to y'all is crack that book open and read that book. But before you read that book, you got to pray, God, open thou my eyes that I might behold wondrous things out of thy law. It's truth in that book. But at the same time, there are certain things in the book I don't understand. I can't say I understand everything in the Bible. This is what get my preacher friends mad. They're like, Berean, you could have closed up. Because I got preachers probably watching this right here. I can't even go back and look. They're like, Berean, you could have closed it up. I seen that video. Or a lot of times they'll come on later on and see the video because they don't want me to see it. Say their name when I see them come. They're like, you would have closed that video, but you went on. But in all actuality, I can't say I understand everything in the Bible. I'll say like grandma and them told me it's in there for a reason. Let God speak. Let the Lord use you. Let God speak. But you don't have to understand everything in the Bible in order to be saved. Are there some strange things in the Bible? To keep it 100, if I'm talking to some people, in church, I got to tell y'all A, B, C, and D. No, there's nothing strange in the Bible. The Bible is God's word, and the Bible is, truth. I believe the Bible is truth, and the Bible is God's word. But on the low, I'll be like, man, I couldn't say the bishop standing right there. Boy, there's some strange stuff in the Bible. There's some strange stuff in the Bible. I don't know why them kids running around here mocking Elijah. They mocking Elijah, and then come around, some bears came out the wood and ate them all up, mauled them. Oh, God, you let the bears, and the writers of the Bible made it sound like God allowed the bears to maul them for mocking Elijah. I don't know why that's in the Bible. I shouldn't have said that because they say I'm giving the other people ammunition, but I don't really know. Maybe some other people got some answers for some other stuff. I mean, some sensible answers. I'm going to answer that, Berean. I'm going to show you. It could be. And I've heard a couple of the answers, but I'm like, oh, that is some rough stuff. That's not the only thing. There's some other things in the Bible. I'm looking at them like, ooh, God, you got to talk to me about this. I don't know. That's some good stuff right there. I don't know why would this even be in there? And when I'm keeping it 100, like if I'm in Bible study and I'm just kicking it with people, we downstairs in the church or we on the phone or we online, I'm just going to say A, B, C, and D. This is what it is. I can't try to act like everything I understand, everything this is that. I know why he did it. I don't know why, and that's just keeping it 100 with people. All right, y'all, I'm out of here. Let me see if I can see. It's just so much stuff. So that Super Jam said that I don't know, but God is an amen. I agree with that. Daz, what's going on, bro? How you doing? How's everything? So it's a lot in there. It's a lot in there. I know I said a lot, but and I don't mean I'm not promoting a doctrine, but I want y'all to know that this occult thing is real and the conscious community is steeped into it. And there's some of them that know a lot, some of them that know a good bit. I'll be listening. I'll be like, let me see if he's going to come out with A, B, C, and D. And they ain't come out with some other stuff so far. So I don't know if I should bring it out to get ahead of the curve. So when people hear it, they be like, oh, Berean, I remember he had a class on this. Ooh, bang, bang, and just hit some shots at them. Or other people will be like, boy, don't go too far. When hear it coming from them dudes, ain't no sense in dropping it. Don't do that to the people. You don't know the level that the people are on. But I often pray for people and tell y'all pray before y'all read that word. I just wanted to show y'all that people believed in that garment with Adam and Eve, and they believed in strange things. They got verses for it. Next time I promise y'all, I come back on here live, I'm gonna have that thing up here. I'm gonna know how to pull up that screen, and I don't know if y'all will see me, but y'all will see the PowerPoint. Y'all will see them slides. I'm gonna show y'all some things. If y'all need, I'll put that stuff in the I'll put those books, remember Mike Heiser, and I'll put that other stuff in there. A lot of scholars, they beefing with Jasher. But you got some other people out here. That's the truth. The truth of who the black man is. Be careful. Make sure you talk. It's the truth about what you claiming the black man is. That's why you need to read the Book of Gad and all of that Jasher and Iddo and all of them other books that the Bible do talk about. They're lost and they've been lost forever. 900 years, 2,000 years later, 4,000 years later, somebody coming up with the book. I'm not going to say it's impossible. Because we found the Dead Sea Scrolls 996 years after the fact, older than the Masoretic texts, and it's kind of and it ain't that bad. They were doing pretty good with the copying. Because when you start looking at them, when you start looking at that Masoretic and you start looking at them Dead Sea Scrolls, especially that Superstar Scroll Isaiah, that ain't that bad. It ain't that bad. They were faithful in copying it down. But why did those mystics, why those Rosicrucians, why them Jews, them Kabbalists, why them other people started writing certain things and popping out certain books and telling us this is a new discovery? Come look at this because they want to promote a doctrine. So be very careful when you're reading those other books. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying don't read it. Oh, it's the demon. Your eyes gonna. I'm not telling y'all that, but y'all do read it. Y'all gotta, you gotta be careful. It's some other stuff. And one of the questions to ask, remember, with interpretation: who, what, where, when, why, who wrote this book? Where does this book come from? All this time this book been gone. We got to be careful when dealing with them good books. I'm gonna tell y'all one more story before we get out of here. Hobby Lobby, we got Hobby Lobby down south. I'm up here in New York. I don't know. There's some up here in New York, probably Long Island. Hobby Lobby is a Christian family, like the Mormon family. I mean, the Marriott family that own those Marriott hotels. You go in a Marriott hotel, you're guaranteed to find a Book of the Mormon, because the people that own Marriott hotels, they are dedicated Mormons. They love it up there. They got mansions in Utah and all of that stuff. They down with the Mormon families. They down with them people. They down with the Church of Latter-day Saints. They down with Joseph Smith and all of that. They dedicated. They rich people. They got hotels. In every hotel, you're going to find a Bible, but you're going to find a Book of the Mormon also. Gideon Bible, remember where I told y'all that comes from. You're going to find a Book of the Mormon, especially in the Marriott Hotel and some other little hotels that they bought and they took over. But the family that owns Hobby Lobby, they wanted to open up a Christian museum. They were building, all the people were building Noah's Ark. They want y'all to come to the Ark. And those are good experiences. What's the other one? PT, for them other people got down there in Florida, the whole land experience and all of that stuff. All of that stuff is good stuff. They want to, they want to teach Bible doctrine and let things come to life visually and all of that. But they put it out there. They were building a museum. They were going to do a museum, and they were collecting stuff, and they got money, and they want old artifacts. They want this, they want that. And because they're a rich family, and they put things out there, and they said it, people started coming up with so-called ancient manuscripts. Automatically, bootleggers came on the scene. Ancient manuscripts. I got an old manuscript from the Bible, and they started buying it, and they got some people supposed to authenticate it, but they started spending money. And come to find out, they started copying manuscripts, and people trying to steal manuscripts from Egypt out of private museums. Some were bootleg, and they started a stir because people knew it was a market for it. And this family got money. All of a sudden, manuscripts started popping up out of nowhere. We got to always be careful. We researchers, we got to be careful when manuscripts start popping up. Stuff started popping up because the Hobby Lobby family put it out there. We got bread, and we looking for some stuff to put in our museum. Oh my goodness, you got people sitting back, you got fraudulent people sitting back, and they were like, oh my God, this is a chance to get money. People out here thinking, be careful. That's all I'm saying. It's crazy, it's dangerous, but if you're searching out for God and you're praying God and you want the truth, he's definitely going to lead y'all into it. All right, I'm going. I done said plenty. Berean Teach, y'all know where I'm at, Berean Teach. Let me see if I can put that other thing. Let me see if I can put that other thing down there. If y'all want to, y'all can hit me, say with donations and all that. We Berean Teach on PayPal and all that other stuff. I get all of that stuff together and try to make sure that I put that stuff in, and that I have that stuff down in the bottom. And y'all can hit me in the email for the classes and all of that. We're gonna do a whole bunch of stuff live. But I said enough. I done talked by myself for 1 hour and 21 minutes. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Remember, everything's not gospel, but I wanted to share certain things with y'all so y'all can see. Hold on, let me tell y'all what my man said right here. Just said the unseen realm and revised. Oh, yes, I'm not going to lie. Must have books. And he better tell y'all about, he the one to put me, I was telling y'all, he the one to put me up on the used bookstores. We got them, we got them a little bit up here, but man, they got some stuff down there. Y'all look in them used bookstores and pick up some stuff. A lot of my stuff I got. Some other people, like the old lady died, her husband died. And she was like, he got them old books in there. And I'm like, oh, man, we got to, And then I started going in here, the whole Masonic collection, all those regalia, his gloves, all this mess. Of course, plenty of that stuff returned to the lodge and blah. And them dudes showed up at the funeral. But I'm like, let me take these off your hand. I'm going to help you clear out his office. She said, I just want to get it out of here. I'm thinking about my Frank. I said, don't worry. Frank's in a better place. Frank was old deacon in the church, but he was a Mason. I went up there and snatched up all them books, slid up out of there. Oh, that's another one of them stories. All right, I'm tired of telling y'all stories. Hey, grace and peace, Brother P. All right, so y'all, all right, I'm out of here, y'all. We appreciate y'all, love y'all prayers or whatever. And I'll probably be on another day or two. Definitely Sunday. I'm not sure if I get on before that, but definitely Sunday night we going in. Me and the team, we going in. I think we're gonna do it at 6 o'clock. Y'all can hit me at Berean Teach at Gmail. Y'all know I'm on Facebook and all that other stuff. All right, I'm out.